Welcome to today's deep dive. I'm just so glad you're joining us today. Usually when you picture a university, you see this highly self-contained bubble.
Right, like the classic ivory tower.
Exactly. You envision the ivy-covered brick walls, manicured lawns, and just this quiet atmosphere that intentionally hides away from all the noise of the real world outside its gates.
Yeah, completely separate ecosystem.
But today, we are pulling from a fascinating Wikipedia article on the University of Montenegro to show you an institution that completely bursts that traditional bubble.
It really does.
Our mission today is to explore how this single school acts as a real-time mirror for an entire nation's geography, its complex history, and its ongoing modern evolution.
It serves as just a brilliant case study because when an educational institution is that deeply interwoven into the actual fabric of the country itself, well, understanding the university gives you a direct lens into the shifting priorities of the people who actually live there.
Absolutely. So, to ground us before we look at the historical shifts and the really unique geographic spread of this campus, let's just lay out the basic statistics.
Yeah, give us the lay of the land.
Right. So we are looking at a national public university. It is the premier educational institution in Montenegro, currently helmed by Rector Professor Vladimir Buzovic, PhD.
And it's quite visually distinct, too.
Oh, definitely. If you ever visit, you will instantly recognize their signature blue and white colors everywhere. And it is a massive, bustling operation. They're currently supporting an enrollment of over 21,500 students.
Which is huge. I mean, considering the total population of Montenegro is just over 600,000 people, 21,500 students represents a massive cross-section of the country's youth.
Yeah, that's a huge chunk of their future workforce.
Exactly.
And they are guided by an academic staff of 850 regular faculty members. So, okay, let's unpack this because to truly understand what those 21,500 students are experiencing today, we can't just look at a modern syllabus.
No, you really can't.
We have to rewind and look at the political and cultural soil this university originally grew from. We need to go all the way back to April 29, 1974.
Right. That marks the official birth of the institution, which makes it exactly 51 years old.
Happy late birthday to them.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But, the university didn't just magically materialize out of thin air. The state utilized a highly efficient strategy.
What did they do?
Well, they took the existing intellectual infrastructure of the region and basically fused it together. They formally merged three established faculties:
Okay, which ones?
economics, engineering, and law. And they combined those along with two colleges and three independent scientific institutes.
Building on existing foundations rather than starting from scratch makes a lot of sense, right? Especially when you consider the specific disciplines they chose to anchor the new school.
Economics, engineering, and law.
Right. Those are the exact tools you need to build and manage a functioning society. And this really pragmatic approach, it was happening during a very distinct era in the region, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The 1970s marked a period of explosive growth for higher education across Yugoslavia. We are talking about a systemic educational boom.
Why then, specifically?
Well, rapid industrialization was taking hold. The state required a modern, highly educated, and self-sufficient workforce. They were actively shifting away from a heavily agrarian economy toward, industrial and technological development.
So they needed engineers and lawyers and economists.
Precisely. Consequently, university doors were opening up not just in Montenegro, but in cities all across the Yugoslav region.
Like where?
Places like Split, Banja Luka, Maribor, Osijek, and Rijeka.
So the state was essentially mass-producing the intellectual capital required to run a modernizing country.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
And the way this university evolved through that era, it brings me to an analogy I've kind of been thinking about.
Oh, let's hear it.
To me, a university's name is usually fairly static, right? It's named after a wealthy founder or the town it sits in, and that is just the end of the story.
Like Harvard or Oxford.
Exactly. But here, the university's name is almost like a historical passport. Every time this institution crossed into a new cultural or political era, it essentially received a new stamp.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, its branding completely changed based on the territory it was traveling through.
What's fascinating here is how clearly those three distinct stamps or, name changes reflect the socio-political priorities of their respective decades.
Let's look at the first one.
Let's do it. When founded in 1974, it was named the University of Titograd.
Right, because the capital city of Montenegro wasn't actually called Podgorica at that time. It was named Titograd after the Yugoslav leader Josip Broz Tito.
Exactly. So that name anchored the university geographically to the capital, but specifically as it was known under that particular political regime.
But that didn't last long, did it?
No, not at all. That first stamp only lasted a single year. By 1975, the institution was renamed to Veljko Vlahović University.
Okay, so that is stamp number 2. And for context, Veljko Vlahović was a prominent communist activist and a World War II participant from Montenegro who passed away in 1975, which is just a year after the university opened.
And naming the primary center of learning after him was a very deliberate choice by the state to cement a specific historical narrative.
It's a statement.
It really is. It was a way for the state to honor a figure who represented the ideological foundation of the government at that exact moment.
So it wasn't just a geographical marker anymore?
No, the institution was no longer just a place in a city. It was meant to be this living monument to the ideological struggles and victories of the mid-20th century.
Which is a really profound way to tell the incoming students, hey, this is the legacy you are inheriting. This is the ideological framework of your education.
Yeah, it's a very specific tone.
But, a passport inevitably gets another stamp when the borders of the world shift.
And they certainly did shift.
Right. The Berlin Wall falls, the geopolitical landscape of Europe transforms, Yugoslavia begins to fragment, and in 1992, the institution receives the name it holds today.
The University of Montenegro.
Exactly.
And that 1992 renaming is arguably the most significant of them all. It really demonstrates the crystallizing of a distinct Montenegrin national identity.
Because they dropped the specific political figure.
Exactly. By removing the name of a single political figure and adopting the name of the nation itself, the university completely shifts its mandate.
It broadens it.
It officially becomes the intellectual anchor for the entire country, transcending all those past ideologies to represent the enduring identity of the Montenegrin people.
And that shift in 1992, it wasn't just like a new label slapped on a building.
No, definitely not.
When you declare yourself the university for an entire nation, you can't just hide in the capital city. You have to physically reach out into the rest of the country.
Which perfectly explains their highly unusual campus layout.
Right. We are moving from the university's journey through time directly into its journey across physical space.
Yeah, this geographic layout is a stark departure from the traditional mega-campus model you see in the US or the UK.
Okay, so the central administration does sit in the capital city of Podgorica, which is the largest city with a population of around 290,000.
Right, that's home base.
And a cluster of the heavy-hitting faculties are located there. The hard sciences, medicine, law, economics.
Which makes sense.
Oh.
Keeping the law students near the seat of government and the economic students near the financial center is just a logical, logistical choice.
But the university doesn't trap everyone in the capital. It oversees 19 distinct faculties, and they are completely decentralized across 4 very different cities.
It is a highly intentional distribution. It's really designed to prevent the brain drain that often occurs when a single massive capital city just absorbs all the intellectual talent from the surrounding regions.
I have to push back on the traditional idea of a massive, walled-off central campus anyway, because honestly, the more I look at this decentralized model, the more brilliant it seems.
How so?
Well, think about it. If you build one giant campus, you force artists, marine biologists, and philosophers to sit in the exact same environment.
Which isn't ideal for everyone.
Right. But the University of Montenegro takes a different approach. They insist that the physical environment should actually match the academic discipline.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, they perfectly tailor the location to the subject matter. For instance, the faculties of philosophy, philology, and sports are all situated in the city of Nikšić.
And Nikšić has its own distinct cultural and industrial vibe, right? It gives students studying the humanities a completely different backdrop than the bureaucratic capital.
Exactly. And what about the artists?
Yeah, if your focus is drama, fine arts, or the music academy, you don't go to the capital. You are placed in Cetinje.
Because Cetinje is the historic, old, royal capital of Montenegro.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a city steeped in centuries of art, traditional architecture, and just deep national heritage. It serves as this organic incubator for creative minds.
That's incredible. It's basically like building your art school inside a living museum.
It really is.
But my absolute favorite piece of this geographic puzzle, without a doubt, if you are studying maritime studies or tourism, you go to Kotor.
Yes, right on the coast.
You are situated directly on the spectacular Bay of Kotor, You aren't learning about marine navigation or coastal tourism from some landlocked, windowless lecture hall.
No, you're right there in it.
You are literally smelling the salt air and watching the cruise ships and cargo vessels come in as you walk to class.
And that reveals a really fascinating dual layer of structural governance here.
What do you mean by dual layer?
Well, at the highest level, the administration is deeply centralized. The managing board, the rector, and the university senate dictate the high-level strategy from Podgorica.
Okay.
And the student parliament unifies the voice of the students across all those locations.
So the macro decisions keep everyone moving in the exact same direction.
Precisely. But the lived, day-to-day academic experience is incredibly localized.
Oh, I see.
The students are actively integrating into the specific communities where their specific skills are most relevant. The maritime students in KODOR are interacting with actual maritime industries daily.
So the university essentially weaves higher education into the actual topographical and economic map of the country.
Beautifully stated, yes.
And zooming in on that coastal city of KODOR brings us to the next vital piece of the university's mission.
Right, because KODOR isn't just a scenic backdrop for students taking exams.
Far from it, it is the site of some incredibly vital world-class research conducted by the university's independent scientific institutes.
Yeah, the university currently operates 4 distinct research institutes to drive advanced scholarship.
What are they?
There's the Institute for History, the Center of Excellence in Research and Innovation, the Institute for Advanced Studies, and the Institute of Marine Biology.
Which is naturally housed down on the coast. And here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh, I agree.
In 2020, operating under the umbrella of this Institute of Marine Biology, the university established the Adriatic Biodiversity Conservation Center.
Though to the general public, it is known by a much more approachable name.
Aquarium Boca.
Right. And it holds the distinction of being the very first and currently the only public aquarium in Montenegro.
Now, this detail made me stop and raise a serious question.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate a good aquarium as much as the next person, but why is a prestigious academic university operating a public tourist attraction?
That's a good question.
Usually, serious academic research is kept firmly behind closed doors. You know, you need a key card and a PhD just to access a marine biology lab.
That's the traditional way, sure.
Right. Institutions don't typically invite tourists in, like, field trips full of rowdy elementary school kids to press their hands against the glass while scientists are trying to conduct high-level ecological research.
It is a completely fair pushback against the traditional academic model. I mean, the old model of science was strictly observational, right? You record the data, you write the paper, and you publish it in a journal that perhaps 50 other experts will ever even read.
Exactly. It stays in the bubble.
But the modern mandate of scientific institutions, especially in the realm of environmental science, it recognizes that conducting the research is really only half the battle.
But putting it behind glass for the public, I mean, it implies that just doing the research isn't enough. It sounds like they're recognizing that if the local fishermen and the local politicians don't actually understand the ecosystem, then all that peer-reviewed research is practically useless for actual conservation.
You have hit on the exact mechanism driving this project. You simply cannot efficiently conserve marine wildlife if the general public feels disconnected from it.
It's too abstract for them.
Right. True conservation requires community buy-in. If the locals and the tourists cannot literally see the rich biodiversity living beneath the surface of the Adriatic Sea, they are not going to advocate for policies to protect it.
It's the ultimate cure for out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. Aquarium Boca represents this brilliant synthesis of high-level research and public outreach.
So they're working side by side.
Right. The top-tier researchers studying the complex ecology of the bay work alongside a public education platform that translates their complex data into a tangible experience.
That's amazing.
When a child or a local stakeholder sees the actual aquatic life swimming right in front of them, the abstract concepts of conservation becomes a very concrete reality.
It makes it real.
Yes, the university is essentially proving that hoarding knowledge does not save ecosystems. Democratizing that knowledge does.
And that marks a really profound evolution in how a university views its responsibility to its country. It isn't just educating enrolled students. It is actively educating the broader public to protect national resources.
It's a massive shift.
But speaking of those enrolled students, we do need to examine how the university has modernized its core internal mechanics.
Right, the actual academic structure.
Because protecting the ocean is vital, but The institution still has to prepare its 21,500 students to actually compete in a rapidly moving, globalized economy.
And achieving that level of global competitiveness requires a highly modernized academic structure, which leads us directly to the massive systemic reforms implemented in 2017.
The 2017 reform. This was a complete overhaul of how a student actually progresses through their education.
A total paradigm shift.
They completely abandoned their old system of studies, which was known as the 3+1+1+3 system, and they officially adopted the European standard 3+2+3 system.
Which is so much cleaner.
Oh my gosh, yes. For anyone listening who has ever tried to transfer credits or get a foreign degree recognized in another country, it can be just a complete bureaucratic nightmare.
Absolutely. Because the old 3+1+1+3 system was incredibly fragmented.
How did it even work?
Well, a student would complete 3 years for a basic bachelor's degree.
Okay, pretty standard.
Then they'd take a highly specialized single year, followed by another single year to achieve a pre-master's or magister degree.
Oh, wow.
Right. Before finally embarking on a 3-year doctorate.
That is just, it's so choppy.
It created these irregular graduation benchmarks that were just very difficult for international universities or foreign employers to properly evaluate.
It sounds exhausting just trying to explain that to a hiring manager.
Seriously.
So the 2017 reform smoothed all of that out by adopting the 3+2+3 model.
Yes.
And that happened alongside the strict implementation of the ECTS points system, which is the European Credit Transfer and Accumulation System.
Right.
So under this new streamlined system, all standard bachelor's programs are 3 years long, and they earn the student exactly 180 ECTS points.
And following that, the master's programs are condensed into a very clear 2-year block, earning 120 points. And finally, the doctoral studies are a standard 3 years, yielding another 180 points.
Hence the clean, easy-to-understand 3+2+3.
Exactly. Though, as with any massive institutional rule, there are critical exceptions, mostly designed to protect the public.
Oh, right. What kind of exceptions?
Well, the exceptions apply to regulated professions, basically ensuring the university aligns perfectly with strict EU directives.
So like doctors.
Yes. If a student is studying medicine or dentistry, the program is a rigorous 6-year track.
Makes sense.
And if they are studying pharmacology or architecture, it is a 5-year track.
Which is a huge relief. I mean, you certainly want the surgeon operating on you or the architect designing the bridge you drive over to have had that extended, specialized classroom time.
I definitely do.
But, modernizing the university wasn't just about adopting a new bureaucratic point system. It's about the caliber of the minds actually operating within that system.
Great point.
And the university has cultivated a really deep roster of homegrown intellectual talent that rivals any institution in Europe.
And a prime example of that intellectual weight is the late Mileva Filipović.
Ah, yes. She is a fascinating figure to highlight. She lived from 1938 to 2020 and served as a genuinely pioneering sociologist and just a trailblazer in gender studies at the university.
Her contribution to Montenegrin scholarship really cannot be overstated. I mean, during a time when the academic environment was still grappling with deeply traditional and patriarchal frameworks, Filipović introduced structuralist sociology and rigorous feminist theory into the university's actual curriculum.
So she brought in entirely new framework.
Yes, but she didn't just import Western feminist ideas and leave it at that. She applied them directly to the unique post-socialist reality of Montenegro.
So she made it relevant to her students' actual lives.
Exactly.
She researched how traditional Montenegrin family structures and patriarchal norms interacted with the rapidly shifting political landscape.
Right.
And by dedicating her career to this, she provided a critical, homegrown lens through which the country could understand its own gender dynamics during a period of massive transition.
It's vital work.
It really is. Having faculty like Filipović demonstrates that the University of Montenegro isn't just absorbing knowledge from the rest of the world. They are generating vital, progressive scholarship that actively pushes the global conversation forward.
And this raises an important question regarding the ultimate goal of the 2017 reforms and the cultivation of this high-level faculty.
Right. So what does this all mean for you, the listener?
Yeah, why does it matter?
Why should you care about the specific details of ECTS points and EU directives at a university in the Balkans?
It's a fair question.
It really comes down to understanding the mechanics of global academic mobility. What this 2017 reform did was essentially hand Montenegrin students an academic universal translator.
That's a great way to think about it.
Yep.
Because before standardization, a brilliant student graduating in Podgorica might find that their degree wasn't fully recognized by an employer in Germany or, say, a PhD program in France.
Because of that clunky 3 plus 1 plus 1 plus 3 thing.
Exactly. The foreign institutions simply did not know how to weigh the credits of that old system. But by adopting the exact same credit architecture used across the European Union, the University of Montenegro ensured its students speak the universal language of European academia.
It guarantees that their graduates can immediately compete, collaborate, and thrive internationally.
Yes, instantly.
They are no longer locked into a single regional job market. Their hard work, their research, and their degrees are instantly validated anywhere in Europe.
It's completely seamless now.
It really circles right back to that passport analogy we discussed earlier. Their academic passport is now officially recognized and valid at any border they choose to cross.
It constructs a highly functional bridge between the intellectual capital of Montenegro and the broader global community.
And what a massive journey this single institution has taken. I mean, when we step back and look at the entire picture we've explored today, it is really remarkable.
It's quite a story.
We started in 1974, observing how an educational boom in Yugoslavia prompted the state to fuse existing faculties into a brand new powerhouse of learning.
And we tracked how its name changed over time, serving as this barometer for shifting ideologies, and eventually the crystallization of a sovereign national identity.
We explored its brilliant geographic decentralization, proving that an institution can literally weave itself into the actual physical landscape of a country, putting the arts in the historic capital and marine biology directly on the sea.
Which is just brilliant.
Yeah. We saw it completely break the ivory tower hold by building Aquarium Boca to actively translate complex science for the public and protect the nation's marine life.
And finally, we detail how it overhauled its entire internal academic structure to guarantee its 21,500 students are fully equipped to step onto the world stage.
It truly serves as a perfect, real-time mirror of a nation's ongoing modernization. We spend this whole time looking at how this university shapes Montenegro internally.
Right.
But taking a step back, look at the networks it's quietly building externally. The source material lists an incredibly vast web of international alliances this university maintains.
The scope of their international memberships is staggering, actually.
Who are they partnered with?
Well, they are active members of the Mediterranean Universities Union, which connects institutions from North Africa all the way to Western Asia and Europe.
Wow.
They are deeply embedded in the Balkan Universities network, as well as the Association of Universities of the Adriatic-Ionian area.
So we are talking about regions, the Balkans, the Mediterranean, Western Asia, that possess deep, often complex histories of fractured borders and really intense political division.
Which leaves us with a really profound concept that I'd love for you, the listener, to consider long after this deep dive ends.
What's that?
Well, in the realm of higher education, representatives from all these historically divided nations are sitting at the exact same table.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right. Could a university like this actually serve as a vital, under-the-radar diplomatic bridge?
I mean, it makes you wonder.
By sharing classrooms, co-authoring scientific research, and exchanging thousands of students across so many fractured borders, is the University in Montenegro quietly doing the heavy lifting of international diplomacy, just simply masked as higher education?
That completely changes how you view a standard university syllabus.
It really does.
It suggests a world where diplomacy isn't just forged through formal political treaties, but through shared marine biology data, standardized credit systems, and student exchange programs.
It's an invisible thread pulling a very complex region much closer together.
It really is. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep asking questions, keep looking past the surface of the institutions around you, and we will catch you next time.